carbohydrates, mucopolysaccharides as large portion. Now, today, continues with the next point. This is lipid. Fat and its derivatives. So lipid consists of fat, oil, complex lipids, steroids. So many types of the molecules are present. So fat and its derivatives are commonly known as lipid. Lipid in them structural components are carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. But here in the lipids, H2O is not water. So we need to say that hydrogen and oxygen are not in 2:1 ratio. Here in lipids, comparatively oxygen molecules are less. So compared to this, you say that compared to the oxygen molecules, hydrogen molecules are more. So we have seen that comparatively to the hydrogen and oxygen molecules are less. That's why if you know that in the respiration chapter, 14th chapter, the RQ of lipid is always less than 1, because oxygen is very less. Comparatively to that, hydrogen molecules are more in number. So for oxidation of these lipid molecules, oxygen required is more. That's why you know that the RQ, that is respiratory quotient, in that number of CO2 molecules are formed upon number of O2 molecules are used. Again, I told you that in the NCERT lecture that you can't think about or you can't remember like that RQ is the ratio of CO2 upon O2. But you remember that this is the RQ that belonging to the respiration. So number of CO2 molecules are produced upon number of the O2 molecules are used. So comparatively here oxygen molecules are less in the structure. So oxygen molecules are more required to oxidize them. That's why RQ is always less than 1. Insoluble in water, soluble in acetone, benzene, chloroform, and what alcohol. Fat is insoluble in water, lipids are insoluble in water, but soluble in acetone, benzene, chloroform, and hot alcohols, as well as ether. Actually, the ether that is most commonly used as a diethyl ether. Actually, diethyl ether is anesthetic. Fine. So, if you apply the little bit amount of the diethyl ether just over the skin, so for a little bit much more time, for that part become anesthetic. Okay. So, anesthetic means lost the sensation. Lipids are present in the protoplasm as a minute globules. Don't form the polymers. So lipid molecules are always present as a micromolecules, and this point that you know it very well. This point you know it very well. In the 16th chapter we had learned with this that carbohydrates provide 4.1 kilocalorie energy per gram. Protein gives us same 4.1 kilocalorie energy per 1 gram. But lipids give energy 9.1 kilocalorie. So we say like that lipid gives more than double energy than the carbohydrates and as well as protein. But compared to the carbohydrates and protein, lipid oxidation is very slow. So we can't obtain the immediate energy by oxidation of the lipid molecules. that in the animal's tissue, the fat is stored in the subcutaneous layer, just below the skin. It acts as an energy reservoir. So the fat molecules are stored just below the skin layer. Energy reservoir, energy storage, as well as shock absorber. So it acts as a shock absorber. Along with this, lipids require less space to store compared to the carbohydrate. So it requires very less space. Along with this, animals store much more of food in the form of lipids. Because you know that animals can take the carbohydrate, proteins and lipids. So lipids store in the body, but initially what happened, that carbohydrates are used. Fine. So as you know that the respiration chance of the respiration, that is first to the carbohydrate, then to the lipid, second chance, and third that is protein. So as you know that protein is going to be ruptured or oxidized. It means that cells are ruptured, cells are dying. Lipid consists oil as well as fat. So oils consist low melting point, whereas fats have high melting point. So oils are mostly in the liquid form at low temperature. Just you say that groundnut oil, coconut oil, but coconut oil at low temperature might be it is in the solid form and it's froze. But at low temperature, cotton oil as well as groundnut oil all are there in the liquid form mostly. Phosphorus containing lipids known as lecithin. discuss same lipid or neutral fats. Simple lipids. Or neutral fats. Simple lipids are esters of fatty acids, long chains of fatty acids and alcohol. But here alcohol is present as a trihydroxy alcohol is present as a trihydroxy propane. Trihydroxypropane or alcohol as a glycerol. So the chemical structure of glycerol is like this: CH2OH CHOH and last CH2OH. So here you know that fatty acid and glycerol are combined together with the help of the ester bond. So this fatty alcohol, that is glycerol, it binds with the three fatty acids. So we say like that this is known as glycerol, and this is one fatty acid, this is second fatty acid, and this is third fatty acid. So here what happened, that in the trihydroxy alcohol, fine, trihydroxy alcohol or propane, fine, this is known as glycerol, and here from glycerol OH from that H and from the fatty acid OH. In this way three water molecules are released. So you say that this is three fatty acids molecules, and as a result this will form. So now here what happened, that CH2 CH and CH2 remains, fine, at this side. Here O is that, fine, and then here OC R1. So this is known as COO one group is there. This is R1, random group, R1, R2 and R3. So this molecule is known as triglyceride. And this bond is known as ester bond. COOC. So here we say like that here glycerol is now bind with the 3 fatty acids molecules with the help of the ester bonds and from the triglyceride. So later is mostly present as a monoglyceride. So monoglyceride in that monohydroxy alcohol with 1 fatty acid. Diglyceride means 2 alcohol, 2 hydroxyl group consist alcohol and bind with the 2 fatty acids. And here similarly 3 hydroxy alcohol with 3 fatty acids are joined together and form sequentially monoglyceride, diglyceride and triglyceride. So this is about the glycerol and 3 fatty acids molecules are there. So glycerol is also known as trihydroxypropane. So here fatty acids are present in the 2 forms. Saturated and non-saturated. So here first we take the difference of it. Saturated fatty acid in that carbon-carbon single bondage in both molecule of the fatty acid. So when you observe the saturated fatty acid in that carbon-carbon in between that one single bond is there. So here in unsaturated fatty acid carbon-carbon double bonds at one side only, whereas carbon-carbon single bond present at others. So when you observe the unsaturated fatty acid, in that only one side, at one side carbon-carbon double bonds there, whereas in the remaining all the sides just like a saturated fatty acids. you know. We have learned that in the protein, in the NCERT syllabus, essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. So saturated fatty acids are also known as non-essential, because here these are synthesized in the animal's body itself. So animals have not to depend on the food to obtain them. Whereas unsaturated fatty acids are also known as essential fatty acids, because to obtain that type of the fatty acids, animals have to depend on the food to obtain them. Fine? Saturated fatty acids mostly present in the solid form at normal temperature. For example, butter as well as ghee. And unsaturated fatty acids are present in the liquid form at normal temperature. For example, coconut oil, mustard oil. Fine? Metabolically less reactive, saturated fatty acids are metabolically less reactive. So do not participate in the metabolism. So it is stored in the body and cause obesity. So you know that obesity causes the much more amount of the fat deposition in the animal's body. So you know that in the 17th chapter cardiovascular system in the human being. In this chapter we had learned with 18th chapter. 16th is the digestive system in the human being. 17th is the respiration and 18th is the cardiovascular system. So in that I have told you that in the hypertension in that the obesity means, how can you define obesity? So if according to the WHO criteria, according to the age and the height, the person's normal weight is decided, that we say that person is healthy. So if the person consists 20% more amount of the weight, just for example you say like that 15 to 20 years person consists 5 feet around height and around 50 to 60 kg weight. I am just giving the example. So if the person consists the more than 70 to 80 kg weight, so we say that obese person. Fine. So saturated fatty acids are metabolically less reactive, cannot participate in the metabolic activity. So without metabolism, they are stored in the body and cause the obesity. So this fat is stored just a subcutaneous layer in the abdominal cavity in the male person and in the buttock region, in the pelvic region in the females. So as a result, by storage, the much more amount of the lipid, it causes cardiovascular abnormalities. Whereas unsaturated fatty acids are metabolically highly reactive, so they are participating in the metabolic process, cannot store that at all and cannot cause the obesity. So saturated fatty acids examples are palmitic acid, palmitic acids consist 16 carbons, stearic acid 18 carbon, lauric acid 12 carbon, myristic acid 14 carbon. Fine. These are the examples of the saturated fatty acids. And unsaturated fatty acids, examples are oleic acid 17 carbons, linoleic acid same 17 carbons, linolenic acids same way 17 carbons and arachidonic acid in that 20 carbons. So here you say like that, oleic acid in that 17 carbons are there, so only one double carbon bonds are there. So double carbon bonds are 1 in oleic acid, 2 in linoleic acid, 3 in linolenic acid and 4 in arachidonic acid. As well as we say like that saturated fatty acids are present in animals, whereas unsaturated fatty acids are mostly present in the plants. So this is about the types of the fatty acids. So I hope you understand the information of the lipid and the simple lipid as well as neutral fats and the types of the fatty acids. So here I can stop now. Fine. Remaining thing we will discuss in the next lecture.